Hello, everyone, and welcome to It's Messy, but It's So Good. And I just want to take a moment to ask for your support with this podcast and share it with your friends, family, or anyone that you think might benefit. I would really appreciate that. Follow us, and if you'd like, give us a review. That would be wonderful, so thank you. Well, today my guest is Daniel Villegas, and Daniel is a hip-hop artist. He's a teacher, and he's an incredibly creative young man doing wonderful work out there in the world. So enjoy the episode today, and thanks for listening. Welcome, Daniel Villegas, to my podcast. And it's messy, but it's so good. And we're so happy to have you here today, Daniel. I want to just introduce you a little bit, and I'll let you share your whole journey, how you got into your passion. But Daniel is a musician. He's a poet and a writer. And Daniel blends his art with culture, which I just love. I just got back from the Azores, and I'm just, awed by just being in different cultures. And I know that you've traveled through the United States, through South America, including Brazil, Europe, Mexico, and New Zealand. So that's amazing. And I can't wait to speak to you about how that influences your art and your creativity. So what I would love, Daniel, is if you could just share a little bit about how you got into all of this vision and the creativity and poetry. And you can start anywhere that resonates with you.
Sure. Thank you for having me. First of all, always excited to be able to share kind of my learnings and my writing. So I'm glad for to be able to do this. And first of all, the other thing, yeah. So I got into writing. Some people may know somebody called Most Def.
Yes.
So he changed his name now to Jesse and Bay. But at the time, I was probably like 16 when I first heard my first hip hop song. And I remember hearing him rap, and I was like, whoa, how does he do that? Like, you know, around my neighborhood, there was people that would rap. I was never really into it. I was a drummer, and I used to play the drums, the bongos and the congas in church with my grandmother, and that's how I got into music. But when I heard him rap, I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna try it," and I wrote my first rap song. Still, I didn't share with anybody. I just put it away, and I said, "Okay, this is cool. I got that out." But once I went to, I was like senior year in high school, and I had an English teacher called Mr. Lincoln's, and we were studying Hamlet, and part of the assignment was you had to write a poem. So I was like, I've never written a poem before. Maybe I'll do what I did with the rap song and see what comes out. And I was the guy who sat in the back and didn't talk to anybody. I was very quiet. I was outspoken when it came to playing with my friends and stuff like that. But in classes, it was a little timid. So I remember writing the poem, and it was my turn to speak it. And he was like, "Yeah, just perform it. Just do how you do." I was like, "Oh, okay." So I did it, and as soon as I was done, people went crazy. They're like, how did you write that? How did you phrase the words like that? And I was like, okay, maybe I have something. So I took that experience and I put it away, and I was like, okay, writing is cool, but I still wasn't too much into it. And it wasn't until I got to college. I went to SUNY Orange for my 2 year for business administration. Then I went to New Paltz for a 4 year for theater. So when I got to SUNY Orange, I was on my way to school. I stopped by at a stoplight in my neighborhood, and there was this guy walking. And I said, "Hey, where are you headed?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm going to SUNY Orange. I just got in." I was like, "Hey, why don't you come with me?" So we got in. As soon as he got in, I was playing hip hop instrumentals, and we started to freestyle. We rapped from the second that we got in the car all the way to university, and we like immediately made friends. From there, we started a club called Reach, which was to reach out to the community about, helping feed the homeless, providing resources to people in the community. And from there, we ended up doing this one open mic, and this is what really got me into the music. So we did this one open mic where people came out, and we ended up forming a group called Rednecks Poetry Squad. Rednecks stands for Next Poets to Be Read About, Rednecks Poetry Squad. And we ended up having 5 members. But at the open mic, I performed this poem called America, which was my experience, how I viewed the United States, and the experience that a typical Latino goes through in the United States. So I remember getting off stage, and this kid came up to me and he said, "Hey, man, I just want to tell you that your poem really reached me. I was in a very dark place, and I didn't know what I was going to do with my life. I didn't know where I was headed. But after seeing you perform that poem, it gave me hope that I can do something similar." And I said, "Whoa, okay. So this poetry that I thought was for me just to write to get out whatever I was feeling, because I used to have a lot of difficulty paying attention in class.
Mm.
And when I would write poetry, it would help me get all my thoughts out so I could be more focused, because I had all these things going in my head, right?" And when he said that, I was like, "Oh, snap. Okay, so poetry is a lot deeper than me just expressing my emotions. It's like it's a, it's another way that I could reach people and give them access to how they can be, or what they want to be, or what they choose to be, right?" So I became this example. So we created this group, and after college, and like the last year of college, we ended up touring. We went all around the United States, and we did our first tour. At that time, we got this little van. It was only 3 of us because most of the guys couldn't do it. The group was made out of Latinos, but it was about 4 guys and 1 female. And we went around the country, came back, and we're like, "Yo, this is dope." We ended up recording 3 albums,
But wait.
and that was,
Let me stop you there a
yes,
second. How did you get to the place where you got the opportunity to tour?
yeah. So we started off from that open mic. We're like, "Hey, maybe we should start going to open mics and just see how people respond to our music and to our poetry." So we did a Hudson Valley open mic tour. So we went to all the open mics in the Hudson Valley. Then we extended that, and we went to like all the open mics in New York City. And from the open mics, people would be like, "Hey, can we book you to do a gig? Can we book you to do this? Can we book you at this location?" And then we started getting smart, and we're like, "Hey, maybe we should just look for people who are doing events, reach out to them, and see if we could jump on their bills and see if we could set up shows." And that's how we got around the country.
Wow. Okay. That's very helpful because what I'm hearing is, it's all about moving forward,
Yeah,
catching an idea, bridging with people that, all have that idea together, and then just go forward and take up the opportunities that come, but also create the opportunities.
correct.
Yeah, that's great. That's important because,
Yeah,
you can have like, still be in your bedroom writing poetry, right? And not reaching and not moving forward. So it's about taking that courage, I think, because what I wanted to also ask you is when you had that person respond to you and they said they were in a dark place and you really reached them, how did that make you feel?
oh, that opened me up. Like, it brought light into my eyes, because I at that time I was still very shy, and I was very insecure about my poetry. I performed it, but I still was like, I don't know if I should have said that. I don't know if what I just wrote really had the significance, to like do anything. So none of those thoughts, about like reaching and being a public speaker entered my mind. So when he came up and he said that, something clicked in my brain, was like, "Oh, I got to do this. I have to do this." Whatever doubts I had about myself about being a performer then, I was like, "I have to do this." And that's when I spoke with my counselor, and he said, you should think about going to 4-year school and do theater so you could get trained how to be a better performer. Because I
Mm.
wasn't gonna go to school. I was just gonna be like, oh, I'll go home. And I took a year off, and I just read for like a year. I just read books and read and read. And because he's like, go to the 4-year in Newport. It's not too far from where you live. Get trained on performance, and then see what you want to do with your music. So I was like, okay, I'll do that. If it'll make me a better performer, I'll take it. And that's what I did.
Oh, that's awesome. So with the touring, then what happened after that in the United
So
States?
so we toured the first year, came back, and once we toured, I mean, as soon as we got home, we already had even more support, right? The people that were following us, the email list that we started to build. So we're like, okay, let's go into our second album. At that time, we did one album. We went to a second one. The first album was called Freedom of Speech Still Lives, Fossil. Then we recorded a second album called Social Issues, which was defining the social issues in the United States. Then we decided to do a second tour. This time, we had a bus that we retrofitted. We put graffiti all around the side of like Native Americans, of um, of young lords who were Mickey Melendez, who helped fight a lot of the injustice when in the city and in the Bronx when things were going um, crazy for a lot of the Puerto Rican people. So we put we put the bus together, and then we did a 16 city tour. And I'll tell you how amazing God is that we didn't know anything about this truck. We're like, okay, let's do it. We went all around the United States. We got to Fresno, California, and the bus broke down. And then we took it into the to one of the mechanics, and the mechanic said, "How did you get here? You have a transmission in a car that's meant for a van. You shouldn't have even left your house." And we made it to our last stop
Mm.
and did all those shows. And then on the way back, the last show helped pay to get us back home.
Oh, so
So
you didn't take the van back with you? You,
no, we left it. There was no way of us bringing that van. We could not afford to fix it.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were definitely divinely guided through that.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
So after you got back, what happened then with your journey?
Then we even got more support because at this time we had a lot of people following our emails who were following the tour. And at this time, there was no Instagram. There really wasn't, I don't know if there was Facebook, or it wasn't really popular still, right? This was like 10, 15 years ago. So everything was email and contact, right? It was direct contact. So we got back, and then we set up our third album, and then we did an album release in New York City at 92Y
Hmm.
in Tribeca, and that place packed out. It packed out. We performed. I had a live drum set, so I played live drums to some of the songs with some of the crew members, and it went so well. We had a screen in the background, so when I did this poem called environmental, what was it? It was about the planet. It was about the environment, and I had a screen in the background showing all the things that I was saying in the poem. And it was like, camaraderie. That's the term that comes to my mind when it came to this group, because we were in it when we made no money. We were in it when we made some money. And a lot of things that came out of this was, so we ended up performing in Newburgh one day at this event. Somebody asked us to perform. The lights went out. There was no sound. And we like, yo, let's just perform anyway. And we performed. And this lady came up to us, and she was like, listen, have you ever thought about doing poetry workshops? And we're like, yeah, yeah, of course, yeah. She's like, can you put something together? Because I'm in contact with the at that time was the circuit that ran most of the school systems in the Hudson Valley regional, and she's like, "We would love for you to present something to us and see if we could get you in a couple of schools because you all seem like you would be great mentors for students."
Oh, yeah.
So we put something together. Next thing you know, for 5 years, we traveled the country again, going over 200 schools teaching creative writing, poetry, and hip hop workshop called Hip
Wow.
Hop and Poetry Saved My Life to students, teaching them techniques on how to write, how to do breath and movement work, and how to speak in front of a crowd, slam poetry.
Wow. So are you still doing that now?
Yeah, so now the group is not as active. I mean, we get a good gig, we would probably perform, but we're not really that active. Out of the 5 members, 3 of us, Decora, DJ H2O, Free Flow, and who we still talk to here and there. We have done a show in Brooklyn where most of us came out. And then there was Lion Translator, who went and got his master's degrees, and now he's doing his own thing with public speaking. So we still perform here and there. I decided to launch my solo career as well.
Mhm.
And I just finished 4th project, my last project called Evolution Gold, which is a music project that just released. Like, I think we just released it like within like a week ago. It just came out. Danielle Villegas, Evolution Gold. You can listen in on all platforms. So I end up saying, you know what? Especially after COVID, right? Everything shut down. I end up writing over like 72 poems.
Wow.
And I was like, wow, I need to put a book out because I have a lot of literature that I could get out. And I'm always being asked when I perform, they're like, hey, you speak so fast when you perform. I need to be able to read what you're saying. And I was like, okay, cool. So I always had that in the back of my mind. And after COVID, I was like, okay, so I have all these poems. I'm gonna start working on finishing this album. And then I was like, I should start teaching this workshop again. No lie. Within the moment I said I should start teaching this workshop, within a few months, I started wherever I was performing, and I would mention after performing, if anybody would be interested, I'm teaching workshops to youth on how to write slam poetry, and if you would like to bring me to your school, so forth, let me know. I end up getting booked in Warwick for a performance. I just now that it's been about a year and a half that I've been running. I've just got 2 more contracts for the Poughkeepsie High School, the Boys and Girls Club from Newburgh, and maybe getting the one for Poughkeepsie. I've done stuff in Kingston. I'm starting to get around again. So these students are quiet before they perform, before I do the workshop, and at the end of the workshop, they open up, right? Because I teach this technique that uses mind mapping. It's called the bubble technique, and in the technique, no matter what, where you're at, if you written poems before, it would help you tap into your creativity even faster. If you've never written a poem before, it will get you writing, no matter what. This technique helps you tap into different parts of your of the creativity and how your brain works, and it's awesome to see these kids. You know, some students who don't even speak in class, like, right.
But you relate to because you were one of them at one time.
Exactly. Yeah. I was one of them. Yeah.
So how many weeks is the workshop, or is it just like one time period?
So I offer 3 different forms of it. I do one session which I come in, I do the basic workshop. Then the second uh session is actually 3 workshops in one. So it'll be 3 days, and each workshop I just go a little bit deeper. People understand the technique a little bit more, and then the third one that I offer is 6 session, which is 6 weeks, and I go into different styles. There's this meditation that I do that helps build on memory. Um, so on the last day of the 6th session, I go in through a meditation where I it's almost, I've learned a lot of things from shamans too, because at one point I wasn't doing so well, so I went to healers to help me kind of recoup myself. And so in the meditation, we dive deep into different parts of your life, and I leave it open as well, so the individual, while we're doing this journey, can also bring their experience. So it'll be the same to everybody who's in the class, but the foundation of what they'll be experiencing is different. So even after the meditation, they'll talk about what they went through, what they experienced, and it'll be different for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome that you're blending, so many different aspects and you're using energy, which I'm a big believer in.
Yeah, yeah.
And I also have used the mind map, if that's what you were referring to.
Yes.
I have created I actually recently just created an entire coaching program for mind mapping and meditation. So
Oh, nice.
it's really like you're channeling, you're channeling from a higher place, that creativity. And
Right.
whatever your belief system is, where it comes from, but it gives you like that ability to ping pong all over and not get caught up in one place, but just kind of put it all out there, whatever comes intuitively. And then you're like, wow, look at all that. It was all there. It's just,
Yeah.
I don't think sometimes we give ourselves the space, right? So you're giving the kids the space to really tap into their own creativity, the confidence and the support. All of those are so important, to move forward in any passion that you have, I
Right.
feel.
Right. Right.
So anything else that's going on right now, for you currently? I know you said that your Evolution Gold,
Yeah.
is coming out. And is there anything else currently? I mean, you're still doing the workshops, right? So,
Yeah, I'm doing the workshop so I could get booked to do, uh, to come into high schools, middle schools. I've done universities. I've even done professional development for teachers. So I teach the technique, and then I go into breath and movement, like I said, and then we do sharing at the end. Uh, a lot of the teachers loved it when we were doing it with the group, because they're like, this, and this I've gotten this by adults too, because I used to run poetry slams in Newburgh, and one of the poets, they came up. She's like, "I think it's great what you're doing with students, phenomenal, but you got to give us a chance." She's like, you need something for the adults. We want to do this stuff too. We want to feel like kids." And I was like, okay. So for about a year, I was doing a poetry class in Gridworks in Newburgh, where I would come in and we would do open sharing, we would do writing, then I would teach some techniques, and it was really fun. It worked really well. But then at the end of the year, I was like, okay, I need to focus on myself. This was fun. A lot of people got a lot of great things out of it, but I was like, I need to get my album out. I need to start performing more. And once I feel like I'm more situated in my performance, then maybe I'll think about doing more stuff with the public.
right,
But
right.
I was like, I need to work on Daniel right now.
Exactly. And that's very important because, you were getting that message. Um, I got to take care of myself and I got to kind of regroup and see what I want to create for me, which is, of course, affecting other people positively. But so, in terms of this podcast, we call it messy. Sometimes things get messy in life, as we all know, and that's where our greatest lessons usually come from. So when things do get messy, um, or we can say there's an obstacle that might come up in any way in your process, um, what kind of tool or practices or perspectives do you use to expand out of that, acknowledge it, but then kind of move forward into your mission, into what it is that you want to create?
Yeah, so, and I'll tie it back into the experience when I wrote my first poem, listening to Mos Def. So I love hip hop. Um, Hip hop, I think, to really understand hip hop is you have to understand it's not a music, it's not a genre. Hip hop is a culture. It's composed of five elements, which is DJing, breakdancing, writing, which is MCing, and graffiti, the artistic part of it. That's what makes the elements of hip hop. So I got infused and exposed to those things. So I'm a break dancer and I love to dance. Besides, I dance salsa and I do all these things. So sometimes when I feel like things are a little bit overwhelming, I say to myself, I need to dance. Besides the fact that it's one of the most spiritual, liberating things that you can do, right? Uh, for centuries, civilizations, our ancestors have used dance as a form to connect with the planet, get messages, and in tune their body to the right frequency of what they wanted to do. So I take all those philosophies and I put them into my practices. I dance, I break dance. I also dabble in and out of different philosophies with Tai Chi and Qigong. So I also do martial arts, a little bit of capoeira, the Brazilian martial arts, and I infuse them when I do my movement, when I go to the gym, and that keeps me going. And I have learned, sometimes I'll sit and I do my breath meditation. I'll do some Kundalini breath work, just help me feel more present in my body. But I also understand sometimes the day gets busy and it's difficult to do that, and I've learned that it's okay to be like, okay, I missed it today. It's okay. When you can make time and get back to your practice, then you devote your time to your practice and get back to the normal thing that you've been doing. But I think it's very easy to get hard on yourself because you missed the practice or because you're not doing the things that you are hoping to do. And at times we also have to listen. We have to listen to our bodies, listen to how in in how deeply we are involved with what we're doing, so we can listen also to the universe when the universe says, okay, so you got X and Y going on. You exerted yourself to the extent on X and Y, and now your body's saying, hey, try something else. Maybe you need to not do this thing today, or maybe you realized through this experience that you can do X and Y to this limit. I'm learning to listen to my body say, I need to stretch right now, and I've gone a week without stretching. I need to stretch because I'm starting to feel it. So those are a few things that I get into just to keep myself going.
Yeah. I love what you said. What I'm hearing is, the self-care, but not to be a perfectionist,
Yeah.
whip ourselves when things get messy, things come up, we get really busy, keep it simple, and then tune back in and say, okay, I'm really like, even today, like I was like, oh, I really got to work out this morning. I didn't feel like it, but I just felt it in my body.
Right. Right.
And I did it, and I did have the time. But it's just about really being compassionate to ourselves, right?
Mm.
Through the process of the creativity, through the process of our mission and what it is that we want to put out there into the world, we need to take care of ourselves through that. Otherwise,
Yeah.
what is it all for? Because we know about people who are very, very successful in terms of monetary and in terms of celebrity, but what's going on within them? I'm
Right.
not saying everybody who's famous is like that, but there are quite a few people who have success, but they pay for it because they're not really in touch with themselves,
Right.
basically. So I love that you said that and that you do that, because that's a big example for young people coming up. In anything, right, that they want to do in their lives is, honoring themselves and throwing out the perfectionism. I think it takes a little while sometimes, though, to learn that, doesn't
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
Sometimes we have to go through the messiness, hopefully not too much of it,
Yeah.
but so I always like to ask my guests, what is the biggest gift that you have received at this point from your passion journey?
Wow. I think the greatest gift that I've received is to be able to continue doing it.
Mm,
You know, I think Denzel Washington was saying that you have to realize that what you have, whether you're an actor, a musician, a writer, um, You have a gift. God has given everybody a gift. And he says you have to realize it's a gift. It was given to you, right? And so when I get back and I perform and I do these things, I'm like, wow, this is a gift, you know? Talent is one thing. Talent is developed, right? Skills are worked on. But when you have a gift, whether it's to be an amazing listener or to speak to people and be coherent, you know, and you're able to get your thoughts out in a certain manner. These are gifts that are given to you, and when we're able to use them and live in those moments and help society become better as well as ourselves, then we're able to really be what we want to be inside, you know, the inside person, not the external that everybody projects you to be. The inside person that says, hey, today I'm going to do this and I'm going to follow my heart, but I'm also going to listen to the self that says, I love writing. And when I write, or for me, when I freestyle, I can do it all day, every day, and never get tired of it because I love it, because
Mm,
it helps me connect to myself,
yeah.
you know? So when we're able to connect with that gift, and going back to your question, I'm grateful to be able to share it with people. And every time I share it, I connect more with myself to saying, yeah, this is what I do this for. This is why I do this. So that's one of the greatest gifts I think I have.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. Now, how can people reach you? Instagram's the best, right?
Yeah, because Instagram, I post my performances, my freestyles, my shows of all the things I got going on. So you could reach me at Daniel Villegas Music. I'm working on my website, so hopefully by December, you know, people will be able to find Daniel Villegas Music, maybe .com, .net. I don't know. We got to figure out what's available, but I will have that as well. But I would say that, or email me if people are interested in booking me as a feature performer or for the workshops or to come speak to their students. You know, I'm always grateful to do that. You know, music, poetry, prayer has changed my life a lot. So I'm always grateful to be able to inspire in any way I can. And you could just reach me at email villeg 52 at gmail.com.
Perfect. And we'll put that in the show notes so people can take a look at that and reach out. You know, what I want to say to you, Daniel, is because it's the first time I met you, you have a very pure heart. And for some reason, I'm just very teary speaking to you.
Thank you.
Because I really feel your, you know, your heart and you know what it has done for you as a person, and then how you are out there affecting other people and spreading, you know, the creativity, the love, and the connection, and that's what we need now. So thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Thank you for
And
having me.
oh, you're welcome. And we'll see you around, right? And now I
Yeah.
see you in the community.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you.
I want to thank my guest today, Daniel Villegas. I found him to be very inspiring, and it's so amazing when you have a talent and you're connecting not only with, you know, the world out there, but specifically with kids and helping them to express their creativity. So some of the things that we talked about during the podcast is really how Daniel discovered his passion. He shared that he had some difficulties in school and in life, you know, some emotional difficulties at one time. And that writing poetry just really opened up his creativity. One thing led to the next, and I think he was really divinely guided, as we all are, once we step into it. He does teach poetry workshops, and they're 1 to 6 week programs. And if any teachers are out there or community activists, that are looking for a way to reach kids, I think this is an incredible way to integrate something very creative and new into your programs. So you can get in touch with Daniel. And he has a new project out called Evolution Gold. And you can listen to that on all platforms. You can get in touch with Daniel on his Instagram at Daniel Villegas Music. And that's DANIEL VILLEGAS Music. And also at his email at VILLEG52@gmail.com. So you can go to the show notes and directly look at all his contact information. He would be so happy to hear from you. I just also want to take a moment to remind you that you can download for free a journal prompt that I created, and that will subscribe you to my email list, where you'll get information on all my podcasts and any other programs or events that are coming up. I really do appreciate you listening and supporting the podcast, and I so appreciate Daniel for expressing his real love for what he does and really making a difference out there in the world. So thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next time.